All righty, welcome back. Sunday morning, there's a new book. Here it is. It's called Freak, Memoir of an Outcast, based on the true story, the life of Howard Shulman, who is joining us right now. And I'm just talking to him, and I'm just shaking my head in amazement at how you have overcome this. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, and
Good.
Thanks a lot for coming in here. First of all, let's start with the book and the title, Freak. Where's that come from?
I never looked at myself as a freak, but it's how other people perceive me and how other people perceive others. For example, kids are a goth, may have piercings or a lot of tattoos, or a veteran that came back from the war, missing a leg or an amputee of some sort. So it's how other people perceive people.
Yeah.
It's not what they know. And it's until you get to know the person that everyone could be a freak. It could be internal with different issues as well.
Right. All right, let's talk about how this all started. When you were born, there were some issues with your face and your parents. What happened with your parents? They just left you at the hospital.
Right. What I wrote was, within days of my birth, as quickly as my face disappeared, so did my mother. I contracted a virus that ate away my lips, the bone in my nose, my lower eyelid, and I became a ward of the state. And
after your parents abandoned you?
After my parents abandoned me in New York.
Right.
And I was appointed a state doctor, and I essentially had close to 100 operations throughout my life.
All right, now this state doctor, you basically, you say he almost used you as an experiment.
Precisely. It really, because this is in the early 60s.
Yeah.
So they did not have the technology that they have today. There was no one to oversee him. And as a ward of the state, I became a number, a case number, which is what I really was.
Yeah.
And so he performed operations that I'm sure his intentions were good. That wasn't it. And I'm not saying they weren't necessary, but he ended up butchering my body as well, taking a bone from my ribs, which is the bone I have now in my nose, skin grafts from my chest, my leg, muscle grafts from my arm and my ear.
So his intentions may have been good, but it ended up doing more harm than good.
I wouldn't say harm, but good. He did the best he could, but his bedside manner was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, he would come in with a clipboard with student doctors, and I was a case number.
Oh my gosh.
So back then, again, it was not what they have today, where doctors have bedside manners, ethics, and where they go to school for that specifically.
Sure.
And it's just completely evolved.
So speaking of evolved, as you got older, you actually hooked up with a doctor in Beverly Hills who, I guess, helped to undo some of the things that this guy did.
More than undo, I would say he reconstructed what he did.
Right.
He rebuilt my lips, because my lower lip did not exist.
Yeah.
He rebuilt my lower eyelid, so more grafts and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But the difference is he had compassion.
Right.
There's a big difference.
Yeah. All right, speaking of compassion, you, part of the book addresses the fact that you ended up running into your mother later in life when you were 38 years old, and a lot of that addresses this and the guilt that she had.
Exactly. And it was an unplanned meeting. I call it a universal moment, because I never had any intentions of meeting her.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that was on my agenda. I was living in San Diego. I moved to New York, and late one night, about 2 in the morning, I couldn't sleep. And it said, 1-800, find your parents. So it became more of a whim. A few days later, I got my name with the same addresses and last names as the area I was born. And so I started calling numbers. On the 5th call, my biological mother picked up the phone. I explained who I was, and she said, I always knew you would call. I was waiting. And so I read about the guilt she had because she was crying, and I had compassion.
As well she should have.
Right, but I have compassion for her because I didn't do anything.
Right.
So my suffering may have been physical, but it wasn't from guilt of giving away a child.
Goodness gracious. And we only have another few seconds here, but I just wanted to mention that one of the critics here of your book said basically this should be a blockbuster movie along with a variety of other movies that have been made similar to this.
Right. His name is Al Zuckerman, and he's the agent for The Blind Side, literary, and the Twilight books as well.
Right.
And so it's very gracious and generous of him to write that down, and I deeply appreciate it.
Well, what a touching story, and obviously there's so much more to it that we didn't get to in this 4 or 5 minutes, but an amazing story that you have risen above it. You went from being a busboy to a nightclub owner here in San Diego. You have a beautiful wife. Your life has been turned around because of you.
I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed.
Yeah.
And you can look it up online. It's called Freak, a Memoir, or Freak by Howard Shulman.
All right, Howard. Nice to meet you.
You as well.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and best of luck. You're doing good.